Remember when your favorite TV show suddenly lost its magic? One week, it was the highlight of your week, and the next, it was pulling stunts like introducing a bizarre new character, moving everyone across the country, or, yes, having someone literally jump over a shark on water skis. That's what we call jumping the shark. A desperate swing for ratings that wrecks what made a show special in the first place. The phrase comes from a 1977 Happy Days episode where Fonzie actually did it, and years later, writer John Hine made the term famous. Of course, we're covering that train wreck. For Gen X, we watch these disasters unfold in real time. A few before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us keep these nostalgia trips alive every single week, so let's get into the countdown with number 6, Dallas, CBS. Premiering in 1978, Dallas was the primetime soap that defined the 1980s, running for 14 seasons until 1991. Set at South Fork Ranch, it followed the wealthy and dysfunctional Ewing family as they schemed, betrayed, and backstabbed their way through Texas oil country. At the center was Larry Hagman as J.R. Ewing, the ruthless, womanizing oil baron everyone loved to hate. Balancing him out was his younger brother Bobby, played by Patrick Duffy, the straight-arrow moral compass who tried, and usually failed, to keep the family together. Victoria Principal co-starred as Pam Barnes, Bobby's wife, whose family feud with the Ewings only made things messier. Dallas became a global phenomenon. Friday nights meant gathering around the TV to see what JR would pull next and which Ewing would backstab whom this week. But in 1985, Patrick Duffy decided he was done. After years of primetime melodrama, he left to pursue a film career. Dallas didn't just write Bobby out, they gave him a gut-punch death scene to end season 8. In the season 8 finale, Bobby heroically pushed Pam out of the path of an oncoming car, was struck instead, and later died in the hospital. It was a gut punch felt around the world. Viewers grieved, the Ewings grieved, and season 9 struggled without its golden boy. Ratings dipped enough to show the hole Bobby left behind. That's when desperation set in. Missing his friend and co-star, Larry Hagman convinced Duffy to return. The problem was, how do you bring someone back from the dead without looking ridiculous? The writers had to figure out how to resurrect Bobby, and Duffy's wife reportedly pitched the wild solution: make the entirety of season 9 a dream. In the season 9 finale, Pam woke up, heard the shower running, and opened the door to find Bobby, alive and smiling.
Good morning.
Just like that, an entire year of Dallas vanished. Pam's marriage to Mark Grayson erased. The death of Jamie Ewing erased. Dozens of tangled storylines gone with the steam from that shower. For fans, it was whiplash. Some celebrated Bobby's return, but plenty felt cheated out of a year's worth of emotional investment. Even cast members were furious that their storylines had been wiped away. Ratings rebounded briefly, but the show's credibility never really fully recovered. The Dream season stands as one of TV's most infamous shark jump moments, a desperate move that taught the industry what happens when you treat your own stories as disposable. Dallas limped along for 5 more years, but it never recaptured the magic that made it appointment television. Number 5, Taxi, The Wedding of Latka and Simca, ABC and NBC. Taxi debuted in 1978 and ran for 5 seasons, starting on ABC before finishing on NBC in 1983. This critical darling racked up an impressive 18 Emmy Awards over its run, honoring the ensemble and its outstanding writing and directing. Judd Hirsch anchored the series as Alex Rieger, the compassionate center of the Sunshine Cab Garage. Danny DeVito stole every scene as tyrannical dispatcher Louis De Palma, Marilu Henner's Elaine, Jeff Conaway's Bobby Wheeler, Tony Danza's Tony Banta, and Christopher Lloyd's Reverend Jim gave the show its perfect mix of dreamers and misfits, while Andy Kaufman's Latka Gravas added pure chaos with his made-up language.
You need the friends and the food and clothes. Then you'll be a happy person.
Okay.
And a nice car.
Latka was either comedy gold or gloriously weird, depending on your tolerance for Kaufman's brand of chaos. Kaufman's boredom with the character eventually led to the introduction of Latka's multiple personalities, most famously, the slick Vic Ferrari, stretching the character in wild directions.
My name is Vic. I'm into Italian cars, Technic stereos, Australian films, and beautiful ladies. If you're interested, let's talk. If not, it's been fun.
Vic, huh?
No, not Vic, huh? Vic Ferrari.
The early seasons leaned into absurdist humor. Remember season 1's paper marriage where Latka married a girl to avoid deportation and an uncharacteristically kind Louie actually played the violin at the ceremony? That was vintage Taxi. Ridiculous situations with heart. The jokes landed because they celebrated absurdity without getting uncomfortable. Latka's eventual romance with Simca DeBlitz, played by Oscar nominee Carol Kane, became one of the show's sweetest arcs. It was offbeat and unpredictable. By season 4, episode 21, Latka and Simca walked down the aisle in the wedding of Latka and Simca. The ceremony was full of bizarre rituals, the bride and groom swapping clothes, answering game show questions. That should have been peak Taxi weirdness.
Abi, question number 1. Kechny bab kechny amushkipa. Who is it who is not your brother? Konsko paternsny. Yet he is your father's son.
Instead, the marriage tied off one of the show's quirkiest storylines, forcing writers to hunt for increasingly desperate material. The most notorious example came in the two-parter Sceneskis from a Marriage, where Latka believed a bizarre cultural ritual required Simca to even the score after he confessed to an infidelity he committed with an alternate personality. Alex was reluctantly chosen by ritualistic means but refused to go along with it. This kind of storyline pushed the show into darker, more awkward territory than its original workplace comedy groove. The wedding represented a subtle shark jump moment, a turning point that shifted the show's DNA. ABC canceled Taxi after season 4 due to declining ratings. Critics still praised the quality, but viewers were tuning out. NBC swooped in for a 5th season, pairing it with a new show called Cheers, co-created by Taxi writers Glenn and Les Charles and director James Burrows. The ratings stayed dismal despite the quality lineup. While Taxi sputtered to its final stop in 1983, Cheers went on to become a cultural phenomenon, proof that the same creative minds had plenty of gas left in the tank. Number 4, Laverne and Shirley, ABC.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hasenbeff Incorporated.
Laverne and Shirley debuted in 1976 as a spin-off from Happy Days and ran for 8 seasons. Penny Marshall's Laverne DeFazio and Cindy Williams' Shirley Feeney quickly turned it into one of ABC's biggest hits. Set in 1950s Milwaukee, the show followed 2 roommates scraping by as bottle cappers at Schott's Brewery. Its blue-collar setting gave it heart, while slapstick antics delivered the laughs. Add in Michael McKean and David Lander as oddball neighbors Lenny and Squiggy, Phil Foster as Laverne's dad Frank, Betty Garrett as landlady Edna Babish, who eventually married Frank, and Eddie Mecca as Carmine Ragusa, Shirley's on-again, off-again boyfriend, and you had a supporting cast that clicked. Those early Milwaukee episodes had a lived-in quality that just felt real. Then, season 6 happened. In episode 1, Not Quite New York, brewery automation left Laverne and Shirley unemployed, so they decided to move to California after a very bizarre dream sequence.
What are we gonna do? Maybe this was a mistake. No. Something will come along.
Frank and Edna had already moved to Burbank, where they opened a Texas barbecue restaurant called Cowboy Bill's. Lenny and Squiggy relocated to California as well and opened the Squignowski Talent Agency, which was mostly an excuse to try picking up attractive women. Eventually, Carmine followed the gang west to pursue his dreams of becoming a successful singer and dancer. The move was a bold reset that reunited everyone, but it felt like watching completely different characters. The Milwaukee identity, those working-class jobs and neighborhood hangouts, vanished overnight. Suddenly, every week brought another wacky California misadventure. One week, Laverne and Shirley were mistaken for stunt women. The next, they unknowingly ate brownies laced with marijuana and almost married 2 British rock stars seeking green cards.
Oh, look at the last brown.
Hey, don't eat that.
Hey, that's enough of that. You've had enough of those marijuana brownies. Come on, spit it out. Spit it out. Spit it out. Come on.
Marijuana brownie!
Behind the scenes, things kept changing. Betty Garrett left after season 6, then 2 episodes into season 8, Cindy Williams departed over a contract dispute, leaving Penny Marshall to carry the show alone. Without Shirley, Laverne and Shirley became just Laverne, and that just wasn't enough. The Milwaukee to California move marked the show's shark jump moment. It wasn't subtle, it was a dramatic retooling that screamed, "We're out of ideas!" The ratings held for a while, but by 1983, even Penny Marshall was ready to move on. The show ended not with roommates that we'd grown to love, but with a hollowed-out version that never recovered from leaving home. Now, since you're still here, we're going to take a quick pause to make sure you're liking and subscribing. If you've ever yelled, "What were they thinking?" at your TV screen. Now, let's get back to the number 2, Mork and Mindy, ABC. Mork and Mindy spun out of Happy Days in 1978 after Robin Williams stole the show as Mork the Alien. ABC rushed a sitcom onto the air, and for a while, it was magic. Williams improvising like a man possessed, Pam Dawber grounding him with perfect straight woman timing, all built around the simple premise of an alien trying to figure out Earth. The show ran for 4 seasons, and if you missed it, we already did a full deep dive on Mork and Mindy that a lot of you loved. The link's in the description below. However, the network then got greedy. They tinkered with the time slot, shoved in new characters, and leaned hard into romance. Ratings slipped fast, and by season 4, ABC was desperate. Their big idea? Marry off Mork and Mindy and give them a baby. In 3 episodes. Talk about fast work. In episode 4, entitled 3 the Hard Way, we witnessed one of the strangest half hours of television that ever aired.
My little bundle of joy!
Mork laid a giant egg from his navel, which grew and hatched into their child, Mirth, played by Jonathan Winters. Yes, Jonathan Winters, the legendary comedian who was 50-something at the time. I'll give you a minute to let that one sink in. Now, technically, the writers had an explanation. Orkins age backward, so a baby that looks middle-aged made sense in the show's logic. Winters had even guest starred earlier as Mindy's Uncle Dave, but recycling him as Mork's son screamed creative exhaustion. The show shifted from Alien Learns About Earth to Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters trying to out-riff each other, while Pam Dawber got reduced to reacting from the sidelines.
I'm your father. Oh, that's nice.
I think I thought of a name for him, Min.
Oh,
No,
Sesame.
The chemistry between Williams and Winters was undeniable. They were both improv legends, but it was also complete chaos that buried whatever remained of the original show's charm. Ratings tanked, and by May of 1982, Mork and Mindy was done. For Robin Williams, working with his idol was a dream come true. For the audience, it felt like Mork and Mindy had spun off into an alien daycare that nobody asked for. The Mirth episodes represent one of television's most desperate shark jumps, proof that even Robin Williams' genius couldn't save a show that had lost its own way. Number 1, Happy Days, ABC.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
And now for the OG of shows that jumped the shark. Happy Days debuted in 1974 and ran all the way to 1984, one of the longest running sitcoms of its era. It started as a nostalgic slice of 1950s Milwaukee life centered on the Cunningham family. Tom Bosley as steady dad Howard, Marion Ross as warm but firm mom Marion, Ron Howard as squeaky clean Richie, and Erin Moran as kid sister Joni. Add in Richie's buddies Potsy and Ralph, plus the gang's hangout spot Arnold's Drive-In, and you had the perfect 1950s time capsule. By the way, if you want the full story on how this show became a cultural phenomenon, we covered that in our Happy Days deep dive. Links in the description. But the real reason that Happy Days became such a phenomenon? Henry Winkler as Arthur Fonzie Fonzarelli. The leather jacket, the motorcycle, the magic fist that made jukeboxes play on command, Fonzie became the breakout star and, for a while, the coolest guy on television. In season 5, the writers went big. Maybe too big. The gang headed to Los Angeles, and while at the beach, Fonzie encountered a local tough guy called the California Kid. The kid challenged Fonzie to prove his bravery by jumping over a confined shark on water skis, and because Fonzie's pride wouldn't let him back down, he accepted. In episode 3, Hollywood Part 3, which aired on September 20th, 1977, Fonzie strapped on water skis, still wearing his leather jacket over his bathing suit, and literally jumped over a shark. It was ridiculous. The Milwaukee greaser who spent his nights at Arnold's was suddenly Evel Knievel in board shorts. The stunt was reportedly included to showcase Henry Winkler's real-life water skiing abilities, but fans recognized it for what it was, a desperate grab for attention. Now, here's the thing. Happy Days didn't end there. It continued for 6 more seasons, and the show actually finished as the number 2 rated series in season 5 and number 4 in season 6. There were plenty of viewers who stuck around until the series ended in 1984. But for some of us, the real Happy Days ended the second Fonzie went airborne over that netted shark. 1 leather jacket, 1 pair of water skis, 1 very bewildered shark, and the moment that gave us the phrase we've been using throughout this entire countdown. TV desperation distilled into one absurd stunt that somehow became part of our language. And there you have it. 6 shows that jumped the shark. Some stumbled and limped along, others went down in flames. But which ones should we cover in part 2? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you like these kinds of videos, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss what we've got coming up next. And remember, until next time, this is Remember When.